Ed Smart is the father of Elizabeth Smart, who was kidnapped from her bedroom back in 2002, leaving no trace, was finally found, held captive in a makeshift campsite after 9 long months. Ed Smart joins me now. Thank you so much for taking the time, sir. It's always good to see you.
Good to see you, Jess.
What is your message to the public right now? What is your message to them about why they shouldn't give up, why they shouldn't lose focus on this? Because I know it's a busy news cycle and it always changes, but what is your message to the public right now who may be the answer, who may see something and say something?
I think that it's really important to, one, not go into conspiracy theories. I don't think there's much value in that. Of course, the Guthries have been looked at. They've supposedly been cleared. So that should no longer really be out there in the public, regardless of whether people are searching around the house or not. I think it's important to keep information coming. Savannah and the family, more information about their mother. That was one thing that our family continually tried to do, was to keep new information coming out. We don't know what law enforcement has, whether they have any DNA that's of any value or not. And, sometimes law enforcement really does not disclose what they have, and that can be problematic. We hoped that a lot of information would be forthcoming from law enforcement, but they kept a lot of that to themselves along with the FBI. So you don't know what they know, and hopefully they will help to bring more information out so that there's more interest in furthering this. But I think keeping Nancy's face out there, more information about Nancy, is really key. Being able to keep your eyes open for the possibilities. I think, one thing that we worried about with Elizabeth was that maybe not everyone saw her face, or that they would remember to keep their eyes open. And really that was what brought Elizabeth home. I'm hoping that, they're staying on social media enough and that law enforcement is following that, because that certainly can lead to details that, may not have come forth yet. So
yeah, and you mentioned something. It was interesting. Despite being cleared by authorities, these citizen journalists, they'd still been seemingly hounding her Savannah's sister and Savannah's sister's husband. So it's a very distressing situation. One of the things I wanted to also bring out about is the family. How, and this is a unique perspective, how do you, yes, maintain hope? You continue to have a presence in this investigation, speak to law enforcement, but how do you, it's the wrong word, not move on, but how do you continue on with your life? Savannah, going back to the Today Show, how do you do that? How do you still stay focused on this, trying to get answers, holding out hope, and yet at the same time trying to live your life?
That is a really good thing to bring up, because we certainly found ourselves in that same situation. 3 months in, of course, the media had died way down. We would get tips that continued to come in. Law enforcement received those, was constantly going through them. They had, conspiracy theorists, they had psychics, they had all sorts of nutcases out there, excuse me, that basically detoured really the focus. And so we, as a family, tried to, we really, I felt that Elizabeth was still out there. And I don't know what, Savannah and her siblings are feeling. You certainly get to the point where you just want the whole thing to be over with, and whatever is going to come, have it come. And it's really a tough thing, but I think that keeping new information coming out about Nancy, making her a real person, which they have done that to an extent, but we were always looking for new information to share with the public about Elizabeth and about what we could get from law enforcement. Another thing that I really feel I have no idea what they've done or what they haven't done is to bring other, say, a private investigator in. We've heard from different FBI or former FBI agents talking about DNA, but I think having a second look by professionals that really can see
That's
to
an
make sure that
interesting idea.
everything's covered.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Ed, we have about a minute left. I do wonder, and I sometimes see this in cases, when you think there's a lot of attention on it at the beginning, you think it's going to be solved immediately. Not always the case. Have you seen, and what would be your perspective, we have about a minute left, that when a case kind of goes quiet, there may be a break? Perhaps the person who did something, their guard goes down, and that could be an interesting perspective, right?
Absolutely. That's very possible. But I think, as long as they keep Nancy's face out there, that is really key because,
Yeah.
someone might come across her or might remember something, and keeping that information is really important.
Well, that is why we're doing this tonight. That is why we're covering this story tonight. That is why we're still talking about Nancy on day 83, and that is why we have you on. Ed Smart, thank you so much for taking the time. Such great perspective, and I hope Savannah and her family were able to hear it and maybe take some of that advice. Thank you so much, sir. It was good seeing you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.